Voters in the Winnipeg riding of Elmwood-Transcona will vote in a by-election September 16. Joining us right now to talk about it is Sheldon Birnie, journalist with the Winnipeg Free Press. Hello to you, Sheldon.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Listen, I think it's worthwhile here to start with a bit of a profile of Elmwood-Transcona. Just exactly who lives there, what are the demographics?
Elmwood-Transcona is interesting. It's very much two kind of separate communities. Elmwood is, historically and to this day, very a working class neighborhood with some enclaves of middle and upper middle class. Transcona historically is a very working class neighborhood with the CN shops located right in downtown Transcona. But it's over the last 10 years expanded quite a bit. Lots of new development, lots of new housing. So it's still got that working class base, but there's also a lot of upper middle class neighborhoods within that area as well, and both are home to a lot of new Canadians.
Mm-hmm. So diverse both economically and ethnically. Yes. Although as we talk about the riding, we should also note the fact that when we look at this race, this really seems to be a by-election of two parties, the NDP and Conservatives, and the Liberals not really in the running, and presumably there's history behind that.
Totally. It's very historically been an NDP riding, both provincially and federally, though the Conservatives here and there have gained a foothold both provincially and federally. The Liberals don't play too well in either neighborhood or the riding as a whole. Historically, I think they did their best in 2015 when Daniel Blakey won the riding, and otherwise they don't typically do very well, and I expect that'll be the case again this year.
Okay, so something to watch out for. As we talk about it, though, I also wonder whether or not there is in this by-election a ballot box question, or if not, what the main issues exactly are.
It's going to be interesting to see. I don't see a specific question. I know affordability is the big one that all parties are talking about and pressing at the doorstep. And how folks take that to be the best way forward is going to, I think, determine a lot of it. But I know that Daniel Blakey was a very popular MP in that area. He did a lot for the area, brought some federal dollars to projects there. So the NDP, I feel like it's probably theirs to lose, but we'll see how the Conservative message is resonating with voters come Election Day.
Okay, you say message. I'm wondering, in terms of messaging, what have you seen from the two parties, from all parties really, in the last few weeks?
The NDP have been very present both on the street and in the media. Jagmeet Singh has made a few visits to the city over the course of the summer, marching most recently in the Labor Day march in downtown. So they're really pushing to try to maintain that seat, and I think they're on a good footing to do so. The Conservatives have been relying on the kind of top-down messaging of axe the tax and the affordability. They're leaning on that message. And Colin Reynolds hasn't quite been as present. He's door knocking. He's out in the community, but he's not quite as available as Leila Dance has been. So really, I think it's likely Leila's race to lose, but we'll see.
Okay, and Leila Dance being the NDP candidate. Interesting, you didn't mention what you've heard from the Liberals on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, the Liberals are out there. They're trying to do their thing. Their candidate has a long history in the school division. He was a teacher and resource teacher involved in the union there. So for folks who've had kids through the school system in that area, he's a recognizable and a likable guy. But again, the Liberal message doesn't seem to be connecting with voters as well as it has, and the NDP have really been pushing in that area to kind of spin the message that a lot of these affordability policies that have gone forward are a result of their pushing for it in Parliament.
Mm-hmm. I want to rewind a bit because you mentioned just how popular Daniel Blakey is in the riding, and certainly his father was also very popular. So without a Blakey on the ballot, even when you say it looks like to be a riding for the NDP to lose, is the riding more vulnerable in any way? Is it a softer support without a Blakey on the ballot?
I know that Leila Dance has got the support of the unions and support of a lot of the community groups going there, but I think you're probably right. People, like Bill Blakey, he's very well respected. Daniel was also very well liked, is very well liked in the community, and did a lot for the community, bringing in, again, federal dollars or brokering some big funding for a number of community projects. And I know he's been out and about, kind of trying to help drum up support for Leila Dance and her team. So if Leila and her team are able to kind of, parlay that name recognition into what they're trying to do or what they're trying to continue to do, then perhaps we'll see that. But I think it does certainly open it up a little bit for the Conservatives. The one time in the last 20 years that they were able to win the seat was when after Bill Blakey was no longer in the picture and before Daniel had stepped in to fill those shoes. So it does open it up a little bit for them for sure.
Mm-hmm. Now the provincial NDP, of course, now in government with Wab Kinew as premier, still very popular amongst Manitobans. Is that an asset in any way for the NDP in this by-election? Is that a factor in any way in this by-election?
I think so. I think that the honeymoon period still maybe dwindling, but still ongoing here in Winnipeg for sure. And in that area of town, the Transcona and Radisson provincial wards, even and Elmwood as well, Concordia. Those are all NDP seats in the provincial legislature and popular MLAs as well among the folks who've elected them. So I think that does play to the NDP's favor for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, Sheldon, we are watching this by-election very closely from here in Ottawa. I really appreciate the time today. Thank you for it.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
That's Sheldon Birnie.